The world was left stunned after what was supposed to be a respectful, celebratory appearance by legendary actor Denzel Washington on The View took a shocking and unexpected turn. Viewers tuned in expecting lighthearted banter, stories about Hollywood, and perhaps a few words of wisdom from the Oscar-winning icon. But what they got instead was a fiery and deeply uncomfortable clash between Denzel and longtime co-host Whoopi Goldberg that erupted live on air and ended with Denzel being asked to leave the set. The show had started normally enough. Denzel arrived to a standing ovation. The hosts welcomed him warmly, and the conversation began with fond recollections of his career milestones. But as the conversation shifted toward more controversial topics, particularly Denzel's outspoken views on faith, politics, and the responsibility of black actors in Hollywood, tension began to build. Whoopi, never one to hold back, challenged some of Denzel's views. What began as a respectful disagreement quickly escalated into something much more explosive. Asterisk. The sparks started flying when the conversation turned toward the influence of Hollywood on American culture. Denzel, known for his spiritual outlook, spoke passionately about how faith and morality have taken a back seat in modern entertainment. He criticized the industry for promoting chaos and division instead of unity and truth. The audience clapped in agreement, but Whoopi quickly interjected, suggesting that Denzel was painting too broad a picture and undermining the work of artists who use their platforms to highlight social justice. Denzel pushed back, saying that too many people are chasing fame and controversy, not truth, which Whoopi countered by saying, "Truth looks different depending on where you're standing." From that moment, the tone shifted drastically. Denzel, normally calm and composed, looked visibly frustrated. He leaned forward, looked Whoopi directly in the eyes, and told her, "That's the problem. We've replaced actual truth with personal opinion and called it progress." The studio audience fell silent, sensing the energy had suddenly gotten real. Asterisk. Whoopi wasn't having it. She fired back by accusing Denzel of sounding condescending, saying that his viewpoint felt dismissive toward those fighting for justice. In today's world, Denzel didn't back down, replying sharply that the justice he believed in came from discipline, accountability, and faith, not from social media outrage or partisan agendas. The co-hosts looked increasingly uncomfortable as they watched two icons spar in a way that felt less like a debate and more like a personal battle. Joy Behar tried to diffuse the tension with a joke, but it fell flat. Denzel, now clearly irritated, continued to press his point, criticizing modern celebrity activism as empty gestures without real sacrifice. Whoopi's face hardened, and she shot back, "You can't sit on a pedestal and judge what everyone else is doing when you're not in their shoes." Denzel responded curtly, "And I won't be lectured about shoes when I've walked in mine with integrity for 40 years. The audience was now on edge, stunned at the direction this conversation had taken. Asterisk. The breaking point came when Whoopi, visibly angry, accused Denzel of sounding like one of those old-school men who think only their version of right matters. Denzel, now completely done with the direction the show had taken, stood up and said, "If telling the truth and standing for values makes me old school, then I'll wear that proudly. But I won't be disrespected on this stage." Whoopi, not backing down, responded, "And I won't be spoken to like I'm beneath someone." The room went dead quiet. A producer offstage attempted to signal the team to cut to commercial, but it was too late. Denzel was already removing his mic. The camera awkwardly stayed on him as he looked around the panel, nodded to the audience, and said, "I came here in peace. But I won't stay in a place where honesty is treated like arrogance." With that, he calmly walked off the stage, leaving the host stunned and the audience too shocked to even applaud or react. Asterisk. Chaos immediately unfolded behind the scenes. Crew members scrambled to figure out how to fill the remaining airtime, while producers debated whether to continue the episode or pull the plug. According to insiders, Whoopi was visibly furious backstage, demanding to know why the producers didn't warn her about the direction Denzel might take. Denzel, meanwhile, reportedly left the studio without speaking to anyone else, still firm in his belief that he had stood his ground respectfully. His publicist quickly issued a statement, saying that Denzel refused to participate in any space where respect and clarity are compromised by hostility and misinterpretation. Social media exploded within minutes of the incident. Clips from the live confrontation were already trending on Twitter. Hashtags like hashtag Denzel vs. Whoopi and hashtag The View Meltdown capturing the public's attention. Opinion was sharply divided. Some defended Denzel's unapologetic approach, while others accused him of being rigid and dismissive toward modern social struggles. Major media outlets scrambled to cover the event, headlines spinning every angle of the story. CNN framed it as a cultural clash between two icons. While conservative media praised Denzel for his moral clarity and refusal to bend to political correctness, liberal voices, however, criticized him for what they saw as a lack of empathy and outdated views on activism. The View's official statement was vague and diplomatic, simply saying they respected all guests and regretted the disagreement. But that didn't stop viewers from picking apart every word exchanged during the episode. By the next morning, every talk show and podcast in America seemed to have something to say about it. Some defended Whoopi for standing her ground. Others sided with Denzel for refusing to play by the show's usual script. The real winner, however, was the internet, where the debate became a symbol of the broader cultural divide playing out across America. In the days that followed, the controversy only grew. Denzel was asked repeatedly in press junkets and interviews if he regretted the confrontation. His response was measured but firm. "I came to speak, not to argue. I stood for what I believe in." He refused to apologize, stating that he hadn't insulted anyone but merely defended his values. Whoopi also spoke about the incident briefly on the next episode of The View, saying she had no regrets about standing her ground and that sometimes grown folks just don't agree. Still, the rift left behind was obvious. Rumors emerged that Denzel had been blacklisted from returning to several daytime shows unless he agreed to pre-screen topics, which sources say he flatly refused. Meanwhile, The View's ratings saw a sudden spike, proof that controversy still sells, and producers reportedly began considering whether more unscripted confrontations might be good for business. Even if messy, despite the firestorm, some celebrities came to Denzel's defense. Morgan Freeman and Viola Davis publicly praised him for his composure and integrity. Others, like Gabrielle Union and Trevor Noah, gently pushed back, saying it's important for even icons to remain open to new perspectives. It was clear this wasn't just about one talk show segment, it had touched a nerve in the culture. Conversations about generational divides, how black leadership is expressed, and the limits of political correctness all became part of the broader discussion. Denzel, always a private man, kept mostly quiet, letting the world argue over his words while he went back to promoting his film. Meanwhile, Whoopi, ever defiant, continued to be the loudest voice on The View, unfazed by the backlash. Started as a standard promotional appearance, had now become a cultural flashpoint, one that would be remembered for years to come. Behind the scenes, sources revealed that the show's producers were divided on how to handle the fallout. Some believed they should issue a formal apology to Denzel, fearing backlash from his loyal fan base and the larger Hollywood community. Others believed Whoopi had every right to push back on controversial opinions, especially when they're aired in front of a diverse national audience. Legal teams were reportedly involved to determine whether any content needed to be cut from the show's reruns or international syndication. Meanwhile, PR advisors for both camps worked overtime to control the narrative. Denzel's team continued to emphasize the dignity with which he exited the show, while Whoopi's camp framed her response as a necessary stand for the values the show represents. The result was a media tug-of-war, unlike anything the show had seen in years. In the end, the incident didn't destroy either career, but it definitely left a permanent mark. For Denzel Washington, it reinforced his image as a principled man unwilling to compromise his beliefs, no matter the setting. For Whoopi Goldberg, it added another chapter to her long history of public debate and strong opinions. But for the viewers in the industry, it served as a powerful reminder of how even the most carefully planned moments on television can erupt into real, unscripted conflict when strong personalities and deeper truths collide. The episode has since been dissected, quoted, and turned into endless memes. and remains a symbol of how fragile the line is between discussion and confrontation in the age of instant outrage. Whether you side with Denzel or Whoopi, one thing is certain: the day Denzel Washington was kicked off The View will be talked about for a long, long time.